I'm not.
Do you all know each other?
I'm not on the same screen, but I've come looking for you. I'm on a different screen.
Can you get me that thing so I can put it on?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
There's 121 people on. Yeah.
I don't think we had them.
Hi,
I don't think we had them.
Hi.
Oh, hi, seen you.
Oh, I've got my sister.
Where's that?
Come on, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about.
The host will
Can't see many glasses of wine.
That's five really.
Hi everyone, hope you're well.
That was somebody running too.
I'm going to be turning my camera on shortly, but can you all hear me okay?
We're getting that
Can
started.
you hear me all right?
We needed to.
If I could just ask you all to go on mute,
I don't have a lot of
that would be really helpful.
Quite a
Thank
lot.
you.
4 feet. I only have 4 feet. So
Everyone needs to mute yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah. Right, let's do this. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening to you all. I'm just going to check everyone is on mute, please. Can just check you're all on mute. That would be great. Okay, so I can see all your faces. Just give me a wave if you can hear me okay. Excellent. Now look, there's pages and pages of people on here. I think we're up to 173, which is remarkable. We're expecting just over 200 people this evening. We could have broken the record all over again, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a little while. Isla, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Be a bit more enthusiastic.
Hello.
Hello. So for those of you who don't know then, let me just do an official introduction. My name's Raheel Mirza. I've been doing this since March last year, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Apologies, I forget. We've been doing this since last year, and it's kind of grown quite significantly, really. Some of you may have seen us on the One Show last week, was it now? Gosh, time flies. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that in a bit. Isla, this is my daughter Isla. She's been with me right from the start, helping out with everything from the technical side of things to making life easier for you as you're following this through. So hopefully we'll make a good team for you tonight, and hopefully together we're going to create something really delicious. So this evening we've got two options. The main, I guess, dish is the chicken saag, but we wanted to provide another option for people who are vegetarian, and therefore you could also do a saag paneer. All right, so raise your hands if you're doing a saag paneer this evening. Yeah, okay, so there's quite a few. We can only see, I say only, we can only see 25 per page. So I have to scroll through page to page to see all of your faces. Hello, can see some more of you now. Really lovely to see you all. Is tofu okay? Someone's asking, is tofu okay? So I'm not sure if that's seri or curry, how you pronounce that, but yes, tofu is fine. You'll know if you cook tofu before how best to do that. I know tofu absorbs flavors a lot quicker. It's a bit like a sponge, isn't it? So if you've cooked with tofu before, then just keep an eye on it and make sure it keeps nice and moist and it doesn't dry out too much. Great, so it looks like a few people are using tofu this evening. We're up to 190. So what I'm going to do is just explain a little bit more about the process for this evening, something about the instructions, etc. So first things first, if you want to get us on your main screen so you can see my picture larger and everyone else smaller, on the top right hand corner, you've got a little tab that says view. If you click on speaker view, you'll get me up or whoever's speaking. Hopefully that'll be me most of the time. Alternatively, you can click on the 3 dots on my screen and go to pin, and then that will pin me as the main picture, okay? The other thing to say is if you've got any questions or any comments you want to make, then as some of you have done already, there's the chat function along the bottom, like a little speech bubble. You can click on that and you can type in a question if you want to, and Isla and myself will try and get to those as quickly as possible. I did say on email prior to joining this evening that we will be recording the entire session on Zoom. That's only to share with people who haven't been able to make it this evening, and we would like, with permission, to put it on YouTube as well afterwards. So if you don't want to be recorded, then you can by all means turn your cameras off. Even still, if you do have your camera on, it's only a tiny little icon, so you won't be able to see much of you anyway. Can you just give me a wave if you can still hear me okay? Okay, great. So I've got a couple of people saying they can't see or hear anything. Now, as we know that with technology, sometimes things can go wrong. So I will every now and again check that you can see and hear me okay. If the vast majority of people can, then unfortunately, I mean, it might be an issue your end with your connection, in which case you might need to dial out and dial back in again. All right, you can rejoin automatically if that's the case. Hopefully that won't happen, and hopefully you'll be okay. So yeah, I'll be recording that. I've started the recording now, if that's okay. So you can turn your cameras off if you wish. Again, for those of you who haven't done this before, we'll go through really nice and easy, step by step. It'll take a little bit longer than it would ordinarily, obviously, to make a curry, because we've got people who are starting right from scratch, never made a curry before, all the way to more experienced people. But we want to make sure everyone has a nice curry at the end of the day. So we'll recap, we'll repeat, we'll make sure we don't leave anyone behind. If that's at all possible with nearly 200 people, then we'll certainly do our best. There's a couple of things, again, whilst we're just waiting for some people to join in, that I just wanted to share with you. So just give us a wave if you were part of the Guinness World Record attempt a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, okay, so quite a few of you. So for those of you who weren't part of the Guinness World Record attempt, we all, most of you on here, and Isla and I, attempted to break the record for the most people cooking simultaneously online. The previous record was 176. So we broke the record. We achieved 532. We actually had over 830 people on the evening, but because of various technical issues and recordings, unfortunately, we couldn't count for everybody. But I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who was part of that, regardless of the fact that it was 532. We smashed the record. That's really exciting. So what I would like to do, I think, before we go any further.
But before that, so even if, say, like, we counted 532 and you weren't in that 532, you still help, because if all of those people were gone, you wouldn't have got all of those recordings.
Absolutely, yes.
You still help.
You did indeed. So yes, so even the people who did the recordings, that was really helpful. You're right, Isla. Without those, we wouldn't have had a success. So what I'd like to do then, before we go any further, I'm going to shortly try and unmute you. And I would like you all to give yourselves the biggest round of applause and a big cheer to say well done to each and every one of you. So let's try that first of all. So unmute yourselves.
Yay!
And after 3, yay! 1, 2, 3. Great stuff. Excellent. Well done, everyone. Amazing. Thank you so much. Right, I'm just going to now mute everyone just shortly so that we'll get back to this then. And actually, Isla, if you just grab that from down there, we'll just show you that we were very excited to receive in the post. Do you want to show everyone yesterday, which was our Guinness World Record certificate that is beautifully framed. And it's big, yeah, and it says the most people cooking online simultaneously is 532 achieved on the 12th of February 2021. It only says my name, and Isla's a bit disappointed about that, so we have requested a new certificate with Isla's name alongside. But of course, all of you as well should feel very proud of that achievement, so thank you so much. What I will say is if anyone wants to get an official Guinness World Record certificate as a participant, you can do now by going on the Guinness World Record website. It's £20 for an official Guinness World Record certificate. What I will also be doing is producing a PDF version, which isn't an official one, but for everyone who took part. And I will send that out an email as soon as I can possibly get around to it. Apologies, it's taking me a little while with everything else that's going on. And then all I ask you to do is if you could make kindly make a donation to the NHS charity on our Just Giving page, which I'll share with you. Doesn't matter how small or large, then that would be really great. Okay, so I'm just going to have a little flick through these pages and just say hello to a few people, some names I can see. You don't have to come off mute, but I just want to say hello to Lynn Gatland. Hello, Lynn Gatland. Hello to Anne Grange. Lovely to see you. Hello to Hilary Larkin. Lovely to see you this evening. Moving through, we've got Veronica. Hello, Veronica. Hello, Chris Kelland. Hello to Holly Dent and Chris Holt. Keep going through. Say hello to Francis Taylor, to Tasha Farrell. Hello to Chris Williams, to Rachel, to Chris Turner, to Karen J, to Emily Wilson, to Ngatia. We can see all you there. Isla, do you want to say hello to some people on the next one?
What I was going to say is if you want your name shouted out, you can wave.
Oh, you can do that as well. I'll keep going. Emma Howarth. Hello, Emma. Good to see you. Nicola Ramsden. Kate Robinson. Lovely to see you too. Hi. We've got Sophie Robinson. Laura Eastwood. A few more people. Let's say hello to Claire Skidmore. To Phil Siddle. To Sally. Shamim Olafson. Hello. To Raheel Mughal. Hello. We've got Kate Wheatley. Hello to you too. Kulsoom Jivanji, hello to you. We've got Lisa Wiggins. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you again. Hi. We've got Sean Simpson, Katie Hoare, Anna F. Hello to you. We've got Sophie Williamson. Hi, Sophie. We've got, from Sheffield Made, of course. I'm going to mention Sheffield Made in a minute. Big thank you to Sheffield Made for sponsoring this evening. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a second. And lots of other people who've got their cameras off at the moment, but that's fine. Hello to Penny Grant, to Kat Welding, Andrea Williams Shue, Anne Smurthwaite, and so many more of you. That'll give you a bit of time for those people who haven't quite got the prep done yet to finish off the preparation. I've got 2 or 3 other shout outs. I want to say a big happy birthday to Millie from Emma. I think that's her sister-in-law. I think it was your birthday yesterday, Millie. Happy birthday to you. I want to do a shout out. So earlier I was shopping at Osman and I bumped into Emma and her family. So I'd love to say a big hello. I said I'd remember. So a big hello to Benjamin, to Charlotte and to Esther. Lovely to see you on here too. And finally to Jenny. We've got Jenny joining in from USA apparently. So Jenny, lovely to see you as well on this screen somewhere. I'm sure I'll come to you soon. So we've got people from all over the world. That's really nice. Last thing I want to say, and then we will get on with the cooking, is I want to say a big thank you to Sheffield Made this evening for sponsoring this event. So Sheffield Made is a local business in Sheffield, which we're trying to champion. We're based in Sheffield ourselves. I know we've got people from up and down the country. Sheffield Made have partnered with us to provide ingredients to people who can't maybe get out at this time of lockdown or even beyond lockdown. We'll be able to create lovely fruit and veg boxes as well as meat for you, hopefully in the future. Currently in Sheffield, but I believe nationally, if we can get that going, and that would be fantastic. And then what we'll do is we'll talk to you more about what they offer. If you're on Instagram, I'll put a link to their page as well. So anytime we do a cook along on the Eventbrite channel, you can then order the full pack as required for that through Sheffield Made. It's also Ossian's birthday today. We've got lots of people requesting now. So big happy birthday to Ossian. Hope you're having a great day. And yes, I've got people already saying Sheffield Made are amazing. I want to mention one other company as well that we started working with, which is Osman. Now, many of you know I've mentioned Osman time and time again, based here in Sheffield, primarily for their spices, actually. So if you want to get some more of the exotic spices and you struggle to get hold of those, then Osman's a great place to go for those as well. That's also where I get my meat from because we use halal meat. So just want to give a big shout out to Osman as well. Right, I think we should get on with some cooking. So the way this is going to work is shortly, I'm going to put the camera down onto the counter here so you can see what's going on. Anytime we've got any questions, type them into the chat function, and then we'll see how we go. We've now got, let me see, Isla, how many people have we got?
Some people can't hear. But...
Okay, so if people can't hear, please, you might need to just dial out and dial back in again. And one of the reasons I've sent the instructions to you all as well beforehand is if there are any technical issues, it just helps you get through the process, hopefully. But I would love it that you can all stay with us all the way through this evening. That would be fantastic. One final time. Can you see us and hear us okay? Fabulous. Let's get on with some cooking then. So the way we're going to do this evening is in 4 stages. First of all, we're going to make the base sauce. We're going to get that started. Then we're going to be making the marinade. If you haven't already done that, I didn't ask you to do that beforehand because I'm going to show you how to do that anyway. So that's absolutely fine. We're then going to go on to make the chicken or the paneer, depending on which version you're using. And we're then going to pull it all together, make the saag, and then finish off hopefully with a lovely tasting dish. So let's do this.
Some people can't, yeah, so let's try dialing and stuff, so.
Okay, so if some of you are still struggling to hear me, I've got my Bluetooth set in, so hopefully you can hear me okay. I think you can. Just try adjusting the volume on your own computer first and foremost. Just make sure that the speaker and the microphone that you're using, or the speaker in particular, is the one that's the main microphone on your laptop or device that you're using. That will tend to be 2 of the main reasons why. Yeah, just turn the volume right up. Mine's right up here as well. It's on maximum at the moment, so I can't really go any higher than that. Okay, good. So we're going to get started. So let me just put the camera down then. No, that's okay. That's fine. Let's just put the camera down onto the counter here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so hopefully all of you can see my pan here first and foremost. So just again, just give me a wave. Is that clear for everyone? Okay to see. Wonderful, good view for you. So as you can see, I'm using a large saute pan. You could use a wok or a large saucepan as well. It's entirely up to you. We've got a few different bits of kit you'll need this evening. One is a large saucepan. The other is a small to medium mixing bowl, something like that to make the marinade in. You'll also need a blender or a food processor. Now I'm using a small one, like a NutriBullet type thing, that sort of size. So that was absolutely fine for this recipe. If you want to use a larger food processor, you can. The other thing you will need actually, and I forgot to put it on the ingredients list, but hopefully you've got an additional vessel to hand, and that is just any kind of frying pan. All right, so just a small or medium frying pan. If you haven't, don't worry, we might be able to manage with this, but we'll see how we go. So first things first then, I'd like to pop the heat on, just on a low heat, put the gas on, or if you're using induction, just the lowest setting you can for the time being under your pan, please. And then the first thing I'd like you to do to add into here is 3 tablespoons of oil of choice. Now I'm using some vegetable oil. It's actually, most vegetable oil is actually rapeseed oil, by the way. We like to use rapeseed oil. If you look on the back, it says vegetable oil on the front. It'll say rapeseed oil on the back, interestingly. So I'm using rapeseed oil. You can use olive oil, vegetable oil, any kind of oil you like to use, really. As long as it's flavorless, then that's perfect. Someone's asking if we can use ground cumin instead of cumin seeds. Yes, you can. So remind me of when we get to that point. So first things first, 3 tablespoons of oil go into the pan, followed by 1 tablespoon of ghee or clarified butter. Now, if you don't want to use ghee, that's fine. You can use a little bit extra of your oil. This just gives it a really indulgent taste. I must admit, when you first put it in, it doesn't smell the nicest, but that smell will go, all right? Some people might not like the smell of ghee. Isla, you don't like it, do you? Isla doesn't like the smell of ghee, but
we're not very used to it.
Yeah, you're right. We don't use ghee that often, actually. So, yeah.
It's not very healthy, is it?
Well, actually, interestingly, research suggests that clarified butter or ghee might actually be even better for you than olive oil or rapeseed oil. There's various different research about that at the moment. So some of you might be more experts on that than we are. But at the moment, don't worry if there's what seems like a bit of a strange smell when you add the ghee, because it just might be something not used to. But that will go as we go through the cooking process. Right, so now I'd like you to just turn the heat up to medium, please. What we're going to be doing is adjusting the heat up and down through the course of making this dish. The reason for that is whenever you're making a curry, you need to be able to cook things at different temperatures. For example, the spices on a slightly lower temperature so we don't burn them. The oil, we're starting off low so it doesn't start getting searing hot straight away, and then we'll turn it up to a medium. So these are different techniques you need when you're making a curry. And then the first thing I'd like you to do is to add into here 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, please. Now, if you don't have cumin seeds, don't add powder at this stage. Powder should be added later on. It's just the whole spices we want. So I'm adding in here, look, you can see, to see if you can see that okay. There we go, look. 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds go straight into the pan, okay? And they will start to splutter pretty much straight away, all right? So that means they're gonna start heating up. Give them a bit of a stir. The next thing I'd like you to do is to add in 2 bay leaves, please, just regular bay leaves. And just be careful if they're fresh ones, because they might just spit and splutter a little bit when you add them to the hot oil. So that's so far 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds and 2 bay leaves. And the final thing is 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds. Now, if you can't find, that's what they look like a yellowy, creamy sort of color. Now, if you can't find, or you've not been able to find fenugreek seeds, it's no bother. You can add a little bit of extra cumin seeds if you like. Fenugreek comes in various different forms. It comes in powder, in dried leaf form, which we're using later, and seeds. We won't be using the powdered form for this recipe. So if you've not been able to get the seeds, just omit them on this occasion. That's absolutely fine. So at the moment then, we've got in here 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, 2 bay leaves, and a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds. And now what we want to do is add into here your 2 medium onions that should be finely chopped straight into the pan along with the whole spices. And just keeping that heat on a medium heat, no higher than that. Don't be tempted to crank the heat up. We're just going to now brown these onions for about 5 to 10 minutes. And we want them to go a nice golden brown. All right, so keep stirring them every now and again. We don't want them to go brown too quickly, as I say, because the browning process of the onions releases lots of flavor. They go all caramelized, and they release their sugars, which end up making the curry taste really nice. Not sweet. I don't mean the sugars won't make the curry taste sweet, but they'll add depth of flavor. Excellent stuff. I'm just scrolling through, just seeing how you're getting on. Give us a wave. How are you all doing? It looks like you're all doing great. Some of you might have helpers, which is always nice. Oh, hello, Josh and Zoe. You're back again. I can see you there. Look, Zoe, you're doing all the work, man. Get Josh to do it. Josh, get stuck in. So that's great to see people who I've worked with before, people I know. That's really nice to see. Just scrolling through, seeing who else I can see on here. Look, got lots of people. Hi, Emily Wilson. Not seen Emily for years. I used to go to primary school with Emily, and then well, we've just known each other a very long time. So it's lovely to see you again and your family. Looks like you've got some help. That's amazing. Who else have we got on here? We've got well, we've got loads of people on here. We've got Emma Andrews. Hello, Emma. Good to see you as well. It looks like you've got some help and support, which we know in the kitchen today. Emma Howarth. Good to see Emma. Worked with Emma before. How are you doing? You're on your own, Emma. Today you got help. You got some help. I can see someone in the background. Oh, little baby. Oh, so cute. Hopefully you're not making, I think it's a her, right? Hopefully you're not making her do all the hard work. Okay. We've got, gosh, so many people on here.
By the way, sorry if we like missed one person out. and then you're like, why did they not shout our name,
Yeah,
our name out?
it is a bit hard to get
We'll
everyone,
try
isn't
and
it?
get like a proper way how to go through lines and then shout everyone out.
Yeah, actually, Isla's very good at that. Isla's keen to make sure we don't miss anyone out when we do this, but with so many people.
Nice. Like, I was doing it with Ronaldo, and then I didn't get my name.
Yeah, as you can tell, Isla's quite a football fan. You heard her mention Ronaldo there, so she's obsessed with football. Yeah, she's very inclusive. She likes to make sure everyone gets a shout out. Unfortunately, with so many people, it's hard. So apologies if we don't get round to everyone.
Some people, I think, might have said that they want to talk or something.
Okay, so I can see, Mel, you've got your hand raised. So I'm going to ask you if you've got a question, unless that was by accident. So Mel, if you've got a question, feel free to come off mute.
We muted everyone. I didn't know anyone could unmute.
Ah, yes, let me mute you. You're right. Let me see if I can.
I think you just have to ask to unmute.
There we go. Try now, Mel. Yeah, there we go.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. We've got, we couldn't get any fenugreek seeds, but we got ground fenugreek.
Yes, so really good question. So I was just saying earlier, fenugreek comes in different for this part of the recipe, we really need the seeds. So you always put in the whole spices more towards the beginning of cooking. If you're using fenugreek powder, I wouldn't advise to use this recipe because it's quite strong. So I would just leave it out altogether on this occasion and try and get hold of the seeds for next time, if that's all right.
Right, okay, yeah, great.
All right, no problem.
Lovely,
Thank you, though.
you.
Good question. Good question.
Some people are asking, can you use butter instead of ghee?
So yeah, again, that's a good question. So if you don't have clarified butter and you want to, ghee, and you want to use regular butter, you can use a little bit of that. Just be careful because regular butter can burn quite quickly. So if you are going to add that, add a smaller quantity and do it on a lower heat. All right. Okay, so look, as you can see, I just want you to turn your heat down to low to medium right now and let these just slowly brown whilst we get on with making the marinade. All right, so if you can now just reach for a bowl, it doesn't have to be a large bowl, something like that. We're going to make the marinade. Now, first thing to go into the marinade is going to be some yogurt. 3 tablespoons of plain natural yogurt. I'm using this Longley Farm version, which has quite a nice tartness to it. So that's quite nice. So 3 tablespoons of that. If you want to use a dairy-free vegan alternative, you can do as well. So I'm going to go 3 tablespoons of yogurt go into there.
I think someone might want to say something.
Okay, so Kate Wheatley, I think you've got your hand up. Did you have a question?
Hi there, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Hi, we couldn't find any seeds, either fenugreek or cumin. Can I use, I've heard what you said about the fenugreek, but with the cumin, can you use the powder with the onions or just leave that out as well?
Leave that out for now, Kate, because we're going to be adding in some powdered cumin later on. Powdered spices are better put in a little bit later rather than earlier.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So yeah, I was just saying you can use a dairy-free vegan alternative if you wish of your yogurt.
Yeah, is there any, can I use Greek yogurt?
Yes, you can use Greek yogurt. That's absolutely fine. Now, one thing I was going to say was when you're making a curry, there's normally, I guess, 2 or 3 main ways you would make a main base curry sauce. One would be, the traditional way would be with onions and tomatoes. And that's what would create your curry sauce or your gravy. Sometimes you can have recipes that require just onions. And other times you have recipes that include onions and yogurt or a yogurt marinade. In this instance, you'll notice we've not got any tomatoes, and quite a few people asked me about that before joining today. The reason for that is that we're going to be using the marinade to create the thickness of the sauce and create that base curry sauce, all right? So that's the method we're going with today. So into this yogurt then, I would like you to add some spices. So the first thing I'd like you to add in is some turmeric powder and 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, please. That's that lovely golden, yellow, orange, bright orange sort of spice there. So 1 teaspoon of that goes into your yogurt. We're not putting this into the curry. This is, sorry, not into the onions, into your yogurt. Now, the next thing I'd like to add in is, and I want you to vary this according to your taste. So on the ingredients list, it says 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. That will give you quite a hot curry, okay? So if you want to go half a teaspoon, you can. So you can adjust it down if you wish to taste. So anywhere between half and 1 teaspoon of red chili powder.
Yeah, can you please have me take this off?
What's that?
This.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so the next thing then, you should have already sort of grated or crushed 3 cloves of garlic and about 1 inch of ginger. If you're using paste, you can use a couple of teaspoons of garlic paste and 1 teaspoon of ginger paste. Pop that straight into the marinade along with the other spices and the yogurt. And then the final thing that's going to go in here are 2 teaspoons of crushed coriander seeds. Now that's what coriander seeds look like. I'll take some out into my hand. So another whole spice. Now the thing with coriander seeds are they add a lovely pop of flavor. So I'm going to put 2 teaspoons into a pestle and mortar here, and I'm just going to lightly crush those. If you don't have coriander seeds or you've not been able to get hold of any, then that's fine. We'll increase the quantity of coriander powder later on when we add that. Okay, so I've just lightly crushed those, as you can see, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making the saag or the spinach separately, and that has ground coriander powder in it, and it has cumin seeds in it. So for those of you who want to add cumin, you can add powder at that point, and you can add more ground coriander at that point as well. So we will balance it all out. So those ground coriander seeds, can now go into the marinade as well.
We had another question.
Go for it.
Question was how many teaspoons of coriander seeds?
2 teaspoons of coriander seeds, please. I think it's Ghislaine. I think that's how you pronounce that. Apologies, not Ghislaine or Ghislaine. I think it's Ghislaine. Okay, so here we go. You can see now in this bowl, just give that a really good mix. So all of that yogurt is mixed in with the spices, with the ginger and the garlic. All right, just give that a really good mix. If you've got yogurt, like Greek yogurt, which is a little bit thicker, you might just want to thin it down with just about a teaspoon of oil. No more than that, just to thin it down a little bit. I might do a little bit here, just a teaspoon or so, no more than that. And then just give it another mix. And then that marinade is ready. And we're going to just put that to one side for a minute. And we're just going to come back to the onions. Now, hopefully you can see here on the onions that they're just starting to brown now. Let me bring that up to the camera a little bit. You can see that they're starting to go a golden brown color.
What was the last ingredient?
The last ingredient was ground coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons. I'm just going to recap that for you in a minute. But here you'll see that these onions are browning really nicely. Don't be tempted to turn the heat up and rush that. They're going to be another couple of 2 or 3 minutes. So let's keep stirring those so they don't stick. Make sure the heat isn't too high.
Do we add brown coriander instead of seeds?
Okay, so if you've got, right, let me go through, let me recap, because I think it appears that a lot of people might not have been able to get hold of ground coriander or coriander seeds. So let me give you some alternatives whilst we're on the go. So in this marinade, we've got 3 tablespoons of plain natural yogurt. You could use Greek yogurt or a vegan alternative yogurt, dairy-free yogurt if you wish. If it's quite thick, just thin it down with about a teaspoon of water. Then what we added to that was 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. We then added anywhere between half to 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, depending on how spicy you want it. So if you don't want it too hot, maybe go less, about a half teaspoon. If you want it spicier, go closer to 1 teaspoon. Then we went in with 3 cloves of crushed or grated garlic and about 1 inch of grated ginger. if you're using ginger or garlic or garlic out of a jar or out of a tube, then you want equivalent a couple of teaspoons of garlic paste and 1 teaspoon of ginger paste. Then the last thing we added in was 2 teaspoons of crushed or ground coriander seeds. Now, because a lot of you haven't got it, what I'll say then at this point is if you want to add coriander powder at this stage, then you can add that to your marinade. So it's either 2 teaspoons of ground coriander seeds or about 1.5 teaspoons of coriander powder into that marinade, then give it a really good mix and just leave it to one side.
I have another question.
Go for it, Isla.
So the question is, we have not got coriander seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Can we use coriander leaves and don't have powder? Basically.
Okay, so if you don't have any coriander of any kind, unless it's the fresh coriander leaves, then leaves will go in at the end of cooking. Okay. Now, interestingly, with coriander, some of the thinner stalks pack a lot of flavor, and they could also go in earlier on in the curry. I wouldn't add them now, but if you were doing this curry again, you could add some very finely chopped thin coriander stalks at the onion stage. These are a little bit brown now, so I wouldn't add them now. And that would also add some really lovely flavor. Whilst we're just waiting for these to finish off, I'm just going to pop into the chat function my Instagram page name as well. That's at Raheel Mirza Cooking. So if any of you want to share your pictures or follow me on there, I'll follow back. I'll like and comment on your pictures. It'd be really nice to see how the presentation comes out of your finished dish.
Hopefully when I'm older, I'll have a bit more on Instagram.
Well, you definitely will. I know that for a fact. When you start going, you're going to get lots of far more followers than I am, than I have at the moment.
Well, that's the reason why I've got followers constantly.
Probably, yeah, probably. Okay, so let's move on then. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add the marinade in to the onions. Just be careful because there might be some moisture content there. So just pop that in gently and carefully into the pan along with the onions. And a good idea to use like a rubber spatula if you've got one, just so you can scrape out all those last bits of marinade. You don't want to leave any of that behind. So I've just got like a rubber kind of spatula there. Just make sure we can get everything off nice and easy. Isla, you just keep checking in case anyone's got any questions.
Question was,
Yeah.
are we adding salt to marinade too?
To marinade too? No, so we're not adding any salt at this stage, okay? We're not going to add any salt at this stage. We will do, but not just yet.
Does the chicken go into the marinade yet? No.
No chicken yet either. So we will be adding some salt, and I know that in the instructions when I sent them out to you, I said to you about adding it into the marinade, but I always think it's a good idea on reflection just to sort of taste in a little while just how salty it is, because obviously we've got yogurt in there that'll also have a saltiness to it. So I didn't want to go too much salt. You can always add salt afterwards, that's fine. Now when you first add this in, it may feel like the yogurt looks like it might be starting to split a little bit. That's okay. Just pop your heat up to a medium heat and we'll keep cooking this, and eventually that will just look absolutely fine. So just keep giving it a stir. We're going to give this just a few minutes, just on a medium sort of heat at the moment. Just for another couple of minutes.
Is it okay if the paste is quite thick?
If the paste is quite thick?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. The paste will be quite thick. When you add it to the onions and with the oil, hopefully you can see that I've got quite a loose mixture here now, right? So with the quantity of oil in there and also the yogurt, it should be quite a loose paste. It shouldn't be too thick by the time you add it into the pan.
Do you put coriander leaves in?
No. Okay, right, let's see how people are getting on. If it's easy for you to show me without throwing everything over your camera, I'd love to see how your base sauce is looking, everybody. So just give it a little stir so I can see what that's looking like. Yeah, okay, so for some of you, let's have a look. So for some of you, if it looks like it's a little bit thicker, then just add it in as just a tiny splash of water. Okay. If it looks like the consistency I've got here, then you're okay. But some people might just have a little bit of a thicker marinade than required, in which case just add a tiny little bit of water just to loosen it up a bit. Apologies, I can't go through everyone and say how everyone's is looking. That's so many people. But generally speaking, from what I can see, they look great.
Yeah.
Really good. Hey, hi, Vicky. Good to see you, Vicky Blissett. Long time no see. Lovely to have you with us. Oh, bless. R. Stevenson, why does yours look so much better than ours? I'm sure it doesn't. Look, it's with practice. And the truth is that you might not have been as generous with the oil, because I know that that can sometimes put people off. So I might have had a slightly little bit more oil than you have. That might be one of the reasons.
I probably will always look better if it's got more oil.
Usually, yeah.
Like it looks proper, like authentic if it's got loads of oil.
It does, yeah. Okay, right. So now a couple of instructions then, depending on what you're making, because we're going to just split this out a little bit now. So for those of you who are making chicken, at this stage, you should have some chicken that looks something like this. All right. So I think a few people were a little bit confused when I was saying how to have the chicken prepared. So first of all, mostly when you're making a chicken curry, it should always be skinless. All right. Because that allows the base sauce to really penetrate into the flesh of the chicken. Secondly, I've got it jointed here into probably 10 or 12 pieces, what we call a curry cut, actually. So if you go to a butcher's like Osman, for example, and you ask them for a curry cut of chicken, a whole chicken, they'll know exactly what you mean. All right. So ideally, something like that. That can all go into the pan. If you're doing the paneer version, at this point, I'd like you to just move the pan to the back of the hob and turn the heat off. So if you're doing the paneer version, you can turn the heat off under your pan and you can leave it to one side. Just whilst I explain to everyone who's doing the chicken what they need to do next. And then we'll make the saag element of the dish together. All right. So don't disappear anyone, even if you are doing the paneer. So for those of you doing the chicken, then you can see that I've got that nicely stirred through and the meat is really nicely coated in all of that base sauce. And I now want you to do something that is called buna, right? So the word buna means to sear meat on quite a high heat and to reduce all of the moisture quite quickly. So I want you to pop your heat up to a medium to high heat if you're doing the chicken, but keep stirring it. Don't move away from the pan now. Keep stirring it. And we just want to do it until these pieces are nicely seared on most sides. All right. So nicely seared, possibly all over if you can. So keep stirring it. And don't move away from it because we don't want it to burn, but we want it to get nicely browned, okay?
We've got a couple of people with their hands up and a couple of questions.
Okay, just before we come to questions, I'm just going to say that this is probably going to take about maybe sort of 4 or 5 minutes just to get to this point. And then we'll move on to the saag. So those of you who are doing the paneer, just bear with us for those minutes and then we'll carry on together. Right, so what were the questions?
Chicken still on the bone?
Yes, the chicken is still on the bone, so it's on the bone. If you're using, if you want to use chicken thigh, boneless, or chicken breast, you can do. My only worry with using chicken breast is it can possibly dry out when you're using this technique, which is why I asked for on the bone, so it's less likely to dry out.
We add fenugreek leaves quite later.
What was that? Sorry.
We add.
Yes. So people are asking about the kasuri methi or the dried fenugreek leaves and also the coriander leaves. Those will go in towards the end of cooking. So you don't need to worry about those right now, okay?
I think one person got that.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yes, actually, a couple of people. Well spotted, Isla. So Lynn Gatland, you've got your hand raised. Did you have a question?
don't actually. I was just trying to talk to my daughter.
Oh, apologies. Sometimes the hand gets raised and then it doesn't go down. Does it?
I know. I'm a bit rubbish at this. So there you
No,
go.
not at all. I do that all the time. But don't worry at all. But it's lovely to have you with us. I just want.
I'm enjoying it. It's great. Thank you.
No problem. And Kate Wheatley, equally, you've got your hand raised again. Was that just to say hello to people?
Sorry about that. Just sausage fingers.
That's all right. Don't worry. That's fine. I just don't want to make sure we don't miss anyone.
People are asking, where did you find your fenugreek leaves from?
Okay, so it's a really good question. So dried fenugreek leaves, I'll show you those now whilst we're just doing the chicken. So they look like this. Okay. Now, I managed to get mine from, you can get them from Osman usually, but as Emma found out when I bumped into her and her family earlier, they sell it by the kilo, which is ridiculously large packet, and it's about £17, which no one wants to invest that much in fenugreek leaves. So I actually got mine from a local Asian supermarket called Sheffield Superstore, and that's on Abbeydale Road, just next to the Abbeydale Picture House. For those of you who are in Sheffield, I appreciate if you're not in Sheffield, that means nothing to you. Apologies, but normally you can get it in a local international store or Asian supermarket. I do think some of the high street the major supermarkets, sorry, like the likes of Tesco and Sainsbury's, have actually started doing it as well now. So keep a lookout for it.
Tesco.
Oh, there you go. So some people are saying they've got it in Tesco, in Asda. So I think it is available to find now a bit more readily.
Probably because loads of people started buying things like that.
Probably, yeah.
Lockdown.
So for those of you doing the chicken, keep stirring away. Let it get a bit seared, but don't let it burn. We're just going to do that for another couple of minutes or so. So just keep stirring it. Isla, can you just give that a stir for me, please, darling?
Yep.
Well done. Now, for those of you, whilst we're just doing that, if you look in the chat function, I've just put a link to the next cook along that we're doing. Now, some of you are already signed up to that. So what I plan on doing is doing these kind of larger group cook alongs every fortnight. Okay. So the next one we'll be doing is on Friday, the 12th of March, and we're going to be doing a lamb Rogan Josh. So if you fancy joining in that one, then you can sign up using that link that I've just popped into the chat function, or you can just search my name and those events will come up. So it'll be lovely to see you every couple of weeks if you can make it. Even beyond lockdown would be nice to get together. So entirely up to you. If you can make it, it'd be great. Please share that as far and wide as you can. So if you've got people in other parts of the country, other parts of the world even, that want to join in, feel free to send them that link. All the details, as you know, will be provided then as a follow-up from me on email or on the actual site itself. I think we've already got about 30 or 40 people signed up for that one. So yeah, make sure you don't miss out if that's something that you fancy joining in on.
A few people are saying, will there be a vegetarian or vegan option?
Yes, it's a really good question. So I'm just looking into that. So lamb Rogan Josh is quite a specific method, which isn't as easy to adapt to a vegetarian recipe. But however, do keep a lookout, because what I'm going to try and do is do an aubergine Rogan Josh equivalent, which might be quite nice, but I've never done it. So I want to kind of experiment it myself first before I just ask everyone to join. So for now, it's just going to be the lamb Rogan Josh, and I will let you know if there's any others, either on Facebook or through my Instagram. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do, for those of you doing the chicken, hopefully you can see that those chicken pieces, most of them now, are nicely seared all over. Let me see what your chicken looks like, everyone. Yeah, that's looking really good. If there's any moisture in the pan, keep going, because we are going to add water in a minute, but that initial water, the moisture that's come out of the chicken, needs to evaporate first, all right? So if there's still a little bit of moisture, keep it going. But now what I'd like you to do at this point, once you've dried out your initial water from the chicken, is just add in about a tablespoon of water. All right, so just a tablespoon, or maybe a tablespoon and a half, let's say, of water. And then just turn the heat right down to low. Right down to low. And then just pop a lid on there. Now, I'm going to set my timer for about 15 minutes. We're going to check it in 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next part for the chicken. So I'm just going to pause there for a minute. So what we did here, we added in about a tablespoon and a half of tap water, turn the heat right down to low, and pop the lid on. I'm actually now going to move mine to the back of the hob here, just on a low heat, because I'm going to need the front hob to do the saag. So you can leave it on the back there, just simmering away. I'll let you know when 15 minutes is up if you're doing it at the same time as me, and then we'll come and check that together. So for those of you who are doing the paneer, let me talk to you for a minute. So at the moment, you've got your base sauce. Can you still hear me okay, everyone? Yeah, great. So you've got your base sauce, which is now cooling, I guess, but it's off the heat at the back of the hob or somewhere. And we're now going to go on to make the saag, which is basically your spinach puree. So both of you, anyone who's doing the chicken or the saag or the paneer, we're all going to make the saag together now. And those of you who are doing paneer, you'll be adding that in towards the end of cooking for the last sort of 10 or so minutes. All right. So your paneer should be cut into nice little cubes, maybe about 1 centimeter or so cubed paneer. That would be great. Someone's asking if you can add paneer to the chicken. Never done it, Davina. So if you want, I wouldn't add it now anyway. If you wanted to mix it in later, I personally wouldn't recommend it. I've never done it, and well, maybe I'm wrong to not recommend it because it might be really nice. But from my experience, I've never tried it, so I would caution against that maybe on this occasion. Let me just see. Some other people got questions. No, don't add the paneer yet, please. Leave the paneer to one side. Move away from the paneer, everyone. Move away from the paneer. Don't touch it. We're going to come on to the spinach next, all right? So what I'd like you to do is, if you can, hopefully you've got another pan of some kind, just a frying pan or a smaller saute pan like that, or a wok even, will be fine. And we're going to go on to making the saag. Now, before we do that, whilst people are just getting ready for that, saag is a term given to, I guess, a puree of greens, really. So saag can be made with spinach. It could be made with kale. It could be made with dill. It could be made with fresh fenugreek or methi. So there's lots of different green leaves that can be made and pureed down into what we would call a saag. All right, so that's basically what a saag is. So that's what we're going to make. But today we're going to make it with spinach. Now, what I'm going to show you, what I've got here is I've actually got some fresh, I don't know if you can see that actually. Hang on a minute. Let me just change the view. I've got here some fresh spinach, which I bought from Osman earlier, and I've washed it thoroughly. If you use fresh spinach like this, like bunches of fresh spinach, you need to make sure that you really wash it thoroughly to get rid of any grit. I've washed this 4 or 5 times. It's just in a colander now, and I'll be using that. I had a lovely delivery from Sophie and her team from Sheffield Made, I was mentioning earlier, and they've put a lovely pack of spinach in there for me to use as well, but I'd already got this one. So I know that moving forward, if you do join, for example, the lamb rogan josh or any of the other recipes that we do in the future, we'll continue hopefully to partner with Sheffield Made, and on the same Eventbrite link, you should be able to purchase the full pack that you need to make the recipe. So that's spices, hopefully meat as well as all the fresh ingredients that you need, the dairy, etc. And we'll work together as best we can to make sure you've got a full kit that's required for future sessions. Okay, so let's do the saag. So I'd like you to pop on your pan or wok just on a very low heat, please, a very low heat. And I'd like you to add into that, add into that a tiny bit of oil, just maybe a couple of teaspoons of oil go into there, no more than that, and just let that heat up a little bit. Just give that a swirl just to cover the bottom of the pan. For those of you doing your chicken, by the way, just every now and again, just give it a little stir, just to make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom of the pan. All right, if it looks like it is, then just add in a tiny splash of water again. All right, like that. Just leave it there.
We've got a question.
1 second, Isla. I'll come to that question in a second. Just once I've got to this bit. What was the question? Sorry.
I've got frozen spinach.
Ah, really good question. So if you've got frozen spinach, you can also use that now. All right. So I'll explain to you when that's going to happen. But first of all, when this oil is heated up, you can now add into here 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds again. All right. If you haven't got cumin seeds, you can add some cumin powder, but in a second, not just yet. So 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. And then I've got on the recipe 1 teaspoon of chili flakes. Chili flakes are very, very hot. So just be careful. You might want to go in with maybe half a teaspoon if you want it a bit milder. And then we're going to add in, you should have 3 garlic cloves that you were sliced. Let's add those in as well. So just on a low heat at the moment. Just move them around the pan, and then now we've got those things in there, we can turn the heat up slightly to low to medium. You don't want to burn that garlic, you see, or any of those whole spices. So just give that a little mix. And now you can have your spinach ready as well, okay? So if you've got frozen spinach, or if you've got fresh spinach, just make sure it's washed and ready to use. If it's in a packet, just make sure you check the packet that it is washed and ready to use. If not, wash it please before you pop it in the pan. And then what I'd like you to do now is just to, and you might need to do this in sort of 2 or 3 goes, is just now add that spinach into your wok. Now, spinach is remarkable because as you'll see, my wok is almost full there and I've not even used half of it yet. But what you'll see is that in a matter of minutes, that will wilt down to almost nothing. So just get underneath and give it a stir so that all those whole spices and garlic at the bottom doesn't burn. All right, so just give it a little mix. You might want to add a little splash of water just to make sure nothing burns in there. All right, and just give it a mix. And then when that's wilted down and there's enough space, then you can add in a little bit more spinach and keep going until all your spinach has been used. Approximately 220 to 250 grams of spinach or thereabouts is what we're using. So just keep doing that. Go on, Isla. Okay, so I can see Galaxy Tab is the name I can see. I'm sure that's not your name, sir, but you've got your hand raised. I have a question.
Well, I was wondering about was it cumin seeds first?
Sorry, say again.
Was it cumin seeds first?
Yes, please. Yeah, it is. So let me recap then. That's a good prompt. So what's gone in here then was a couple of teaspoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, either a half to a teaspoon of red chili flakes, depending on how spicy you want it, and 3 sliced garlic cloves. They can all go in together with just a splash of water then, and then I'm adding my spinach in little batches here, just so that it wilts down. And now look, I've got enough space to add the rest of that. So it is remarkable how quickly spinach wilts down and what sort of quantity you end up with. But because it's so powerful in flavor, even the little amount you'll end up with will transform your dish. All right. Now, those of you who are doing paneer, this recipe hopefully will be sufficient comfortably for 2 to 3, I would hope. The chicken should be comfortably good enough for 3 to 4. If you wanted to double up on the quantities, you can do, and just double up on everything else. If you wanted to halve it, you could also do that as well. So as you can see, I'm just stirring that chicken again, just making sure it's not sticking. That's coming along really nicely. I mean, that masala, hopefully you agree, looks really nice in the bottom of that pan with the chicken. There should be a nice masala forming in there with the water mixing in with the yogurt and the natural juices coming out of the chicken. Now, for those of you who do it, well, everyone now is doing the spinach then, just keep it on a low to medium heat. And at this point, I would like you to add in 1 teaspoon of salt. So 1 teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon of ground coriander powder. Now, if you didn't have any ground coriander seeds earlier on, you could add another extra half a teaspoon of ground coriander powder at this point. And then let's give that another mix. Okay, just giving that another mix there. Now, I mean, can you believe what it goes down to? Look at that. That was a whole bag of spinach. Isn't that impressive? I love how quickly that wilts down, and yet it still contains all that rich source of vitamin K. I believe spinach is particularly well packed with. I'm sure some of you know more about spinach than I do, but I think it's vitamin K that's abundant in. The word I was looking for. Right, some questions. What chutneys would go? Right, okay, I'm going to recap actually before I do that. So in here was a couple of teaspoons of oil. After that, we went in with a teaspoon of cumin seeds, a half to a teaspoon of red chili flakes, depending on how spicy you want it, 3 garlic cloves sliced with a splash of water. We then added in the spinach gradually until it wilts down like it is here. And latterly, I've added in a teaspoon of salt and 1 heaped teaspoon or decent teaspoon of ground coriander powder. And if you didn't have coriander seeds earlier when we did the base sauce, you can add in an extra half a teaspoon of ground coriander powder at this stage. And really, that's what we're after, okay? So hopefully you can see that that's really wilted right down, look, into a mush of green spinach. Keep that moisture there. See that liquid that's come off? We don't want to lose it, all right? So keep that there. And just for now, you can turn the heat off now under your saag. And we're going to pause for a second whilst people just catch up and I answer some questions. So the questions we had was, what chutneys would go with this? To be honest with you, I would like more of a raita that would go with this. So like a cucumber raita that you could make up with yogurt, finely chopped cucumber. In fact, let me just bring the camera up here. It seems a bit rude. I'm just kind of listening to a pan. Don't listen to a pan. Let's move this over here, look. There we go. Hopefully you can see me all right. Yeah, so I would go with something like a cucumber raita. So yogurt mixed with a bit of red chili powder, a bit of cumin, a bit of garam masala maybe, and some finely chopped cucumber, red onion, tomato. Mix that through. That would be a really nice dip to have with it. A mint chutney would be nice. A mango chutney, I guess, would go with this nicely as well. What other questions did we have? Let's come down here. Oh gosh, hang on a minute. The chat goes so quickly. Go up here. Okay, so Penny, you're saying that you're cooking the paneer and it looks like the sauce is split. What you need to do is just, when we start again in a minute, is just pop the heat on, add a little bit of water, and then just keep cooking it again for a couple of minutes, and that split consistency will go. Where did you get the Sheffield chili flakes? Or where did you get Sheffield Pets chili flakes?
I think
chili flakes.
Made something about.
Okay. So chili flakes. I actually have some chili flakes I bought ages ago from Tesco, but I know that I believe Sheffield Made can get some of those for you as well now. So that would also be something to look out for next time if we have in any of the ingredients. Cut of lamb, by the way, I'll let you know for next time if that's okay for the lamb rogan josh. Normally I go with like a boneless lamb, really is the best thing I find for that. Sorry, just go down, darling, a little bit, please. Let's go towards the bottom. No paneer just yet. And what else did we have? Oh gosh, so much chat in here. Oh, someone was asking about the chopping board. Yeah, so the chopping board was donated to us from a company called the Oak and Rope Company. And there's another one called Make Me Something Special. There was 2 companies. So the big cherry board at the back there was Make Me Something Special, and the smaller one with the rope and the oak personalized one was from the Oak and Rope Company, and the spice box was from Made with Love in India, so you can find them online as well on Instagram. Right, so for those of you doing the chicken, then let's just put the camera down here for a second and I'll show you what's going on. If I can just get my screen in a minute, hang on. Yeah, someone was just asking if they're making rice or accompaniments. Yes, if you're making any accompaniments, You could probably get those on in the next 5 or 10 minutes if you're doing rice or something like that, for example. So if you're doing chicken, then let's just have a look what that's looking like. So on the back here, then, just give that a little stir. What you'll see is that there's still quite a bit of moisture in the pan. That's all the juices that have come out of the chicken plus the oil. So that is looking really nice. And that's probably, I'd say, 75% cooked already. Some of you just show me what your chicken's looking like. Let's have a little glance. Oh yeah, that's looking fantastic, everyone. They look really good, really good. If you feel like it's drying out a little bit, add a tiny bit of water, that's all right. Great stuff. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is leave that now with a lid on still, all right? Just whilst we sort out the saag and what we're gonna do with that next. For those of you doing the saag paneer then, please pop the heat on underneath your base sauce again, just on a low heat, and just add maybe a splash of water and just start bringing that to a nice heat, okay? So low to medium heat, just get that heated through. For the spinach then, what I need you to do is to pop that into a blender and just give it a really good blitz into a puree. Now make sure that you use all of those juices that are in the bottom of the pan. That will really help you to get that to blend up properly. And to be honest with you, that's where a lot of the goodness and a lot of the flavor is. And you'll need it, as I say, to help you get this going when you start blending it. All right. Don't be tempted to add any more water. There should be enough water in there, perhaps a tablespoon and a half or so in the bottom of your pan that's been released by the spinach, that will help to blend this up. Okay.
Okay, people are saying, where do you get your pan from?
Which pan? Do you mean the pan at the, I presume they mean the pan at the back, actually. So I'll tell you. So the pan at the back, which is the one that the chicken's making, being made in, I think I got that from Asda. I think it's called Scoville is the brand. And yeah, it's a great pan. I use it for almost everything now. And this one here, I've had for ages. You can see how battered it is now. I just got that from Sainsbury's, to be honest with you, but that's pretty much on its way out almost. So what I'm going to do now then is I'm just going to go on mute whilst I just blend this into a puree. Then I'll show you what that should look like. All right. So just going to go on mute a minute or so. Okay, so what you'll see then when that's done is a really bright green, rich, bright green, vibrant color of spinach puree. And can you believe that that whole bag of spinach has gone down to that little quantity? But that is going to pack a punch. Don't forget in there, we've got red chili flakes, we've got cumin seeds, we've got garlic, right? We've got coriander powder, salt. There's loads of goodness in there. So just pop that to one side for a minute then. Now, those of you who are doing the Saag Paneer, hopefully your sauce has now been heated through a little bit more, and it's coming together nicely. And what we're going to do now, both with the Saag Paneer and with the chicken, is we're going to add the saag in with the chicken or in with your base sauce. Just leave the paneer to one side for a minute. So I'm going to bring this pan back to the front here. So the chicken, there we go, to the front here. Just take the lid off. Just give it a stir just to see how things are coming along in there, which looks great, by the way. Smells amazing. All right, so that's there. So if you're doing the chicken version, I would like you to now add the spinach straight into the chicken and then stir it through, okay? If you're doing the Saag Paneer version, add your spinach to the base sauce and give it a good stir through. If you've got some left in the bottom, just add a couple of teaspoons of water and then just pop the lid back on. Don't forget that bit. And just give it a bit of a shake. And that way you get all of that. You don't waste anything. Get all that goodness out. You know, not only is it great flavor, we want to avoid wasting food and try and keep our planet in good health as well. So give that a good stir through.
It's amazing. complaining how like you had a whole bag and now it's ready to Nintendo.
Oh, I know. I can't believe it. I mean, it just transforms the dish as well. All right. So now when you add that in, that should look really tantalizing. The way that that's coming together now with the chicken and the saag. What you can do at this point is you can get your heat up to a medium heat now that you've got the saag in there, and just give that a good stir through, okay? Now, for those of you who are doing the paneer, once you've given that a good stir through, just give it another minute or so, then you can add your paneer straight into the pan on a medium heat, into that saag mixture, and then give it a gentle stir, and then just leave that for about 10 minutes to cook through, okay? And I'm also going to set the timer here for about another 5 minutes, and then we're going to finish off the last few bits that we need to, okay, to complete this dish.
I think maybe a couple of people might have questions.
Carolyn, did you have a question? You've got your hand raised. You're on mute at the moment. Or maybe it's just to say hello. Hello. Good to see you.
Maybe you.
Oh, go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Carolyn.
Brilliant, thank you. No, I've got an old-fashioned stick blender, so I'm busy trying very hard to mix this spinach, and I couldn't hear you at all. So I'm going to keep blending a bit more, and I just add it into the chicken. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. So add it into the chicken, give it a good stir, then get it on a medium heat, just with the lid off, and we're just going to cook that for another 5 to 10 minutes.
Brilliant. And does it matter if it's a little bit chunky with garlic bits in it?
No, that's fine. Don't worry. The flavor's still going to be in there. That's great.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.
Good stuff.
So we've had a couple of questions. Do we add in the cumin powder yet?
Mm-hmm.
Do the bay leaves come out yet? And do you take the bay leaves out before serving? And a few people think they said that they might have overblended.
Okay, so first things first. If you want to add, we've added the cumin seeds earlier as part of the saag. If you didn't have seeds and you want to add some cumin powder, you can add that at this stage, maybe sort of a half teaspoon, no more than that, because we're still going to be cooking this for another 5 to 10 minutes, all right? So at this stage, it's still okay to add that powder so it cooks out properly. With regards to overblended, don't worry. Actually, I'm not sure you could overblend it, if I'm honest. The more you blend it, the better. The really fine puree you get, the better, if I'm honest with you. So don't worry if it's too, looks like it's too overblended. And what was the other question, Isla?
The one that I'm highlighting.
Right, so you should have, oh, no, it was about the bay leaves. So yes, please do. You can remove the bay leaves at this stage, or you can leave them in until right till the end of cooking, but just make sure when you serve up that obviously you don't put those in anyone's plate. Be a nice surprise, wouldn't it? So there you go. Fine, so you should only have, let me see, 1, 2, 3 ingredients left on your counter, people, as you look around. You should have your garam masala, you should have some dried fenugreek leaves, and you should have some coriander leaves. If there's anything else that you've still got outstanding, feel free to pop it in the chat function, and we'll see where that should have gone. Okay. Oh, what have you done there? Okay, fine. Okay, so so R. Stevenson says, mine is looking fab now. Think I might try for the next season of MasterChef. Please do. And if you want any tips, let me know. Not that I got very far, but hey ho. Okay, so let's pop this camera back up here now. And as we've just got about another sort of 5 minutes before we finish off cooking here, let's move the camera over this side a little bit. There you hopefully ignore the chaos behind me. Let's just see if we can say hello to a few people. Isla, do you want to just scroll through and just left to right, and I'll say hello to a few people. Keep stirring your chicken, by the way. And those of you who are doing Saag Paneer, can you, you should have your paneer in now. Just keep, every now and again, give it a stir so it doesn't stick. Those of you who are doing Saag Paneer, by the way, just show me what yours is looking like, please. Those of you doing Saag Paneer. Oh yeah, that looks good. Elizabeth Towning, that looks fantastic. Airy, that looks great. Heather Guile looks amazing as well. Some great paneer dishes. Sean, that looks bang on. Amy, looks amazing. There's some fantastic paneer recipes going on out there. Okay, let me say hello to a few people, Isla. So if you would like to come off mute when I kind of say your name, just to have a quick chat, that would be lovely. Don't worry if you don't want to, it's absolutely fine. So let me say hello to, who should we say hello to first? Let's say hello to Chris Holt and family. Can you hear us okay? Hang on, see if you can, 1 second. Try now. There we go.
Hi.
Hello, good evening.
How are you keeping? You all right?
Can't complain, can't complain.
Fantastic. And how's it looking so far, your end?
The kitchen smells incredible. I have to say, the kitchen smells incredible. I've got my sous chefs here,
Hi.
Eddie and Sam.
Hello.
Say hello, Eddie.
Hi.
Hey.
Do you want to peer into the pan? Do we want a quick look?
Let's have a look, Chris. Show us. That looks banging, sir. That looks wicked.
There we go. My eldest is in charge of the rice, so it's at all action stations.
Oh, excellent. Well, look, this sounds like a great team effort. Really well done. That looks brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy. Right, let's say scroll across one more, Isla. Let's see if we can say hello to. Let's say hello to Amy. Amy Wickstead. How are you doing this evening?
Unmute.
Hi there. No, we're good, thank you.
Good. And looks like you've got help as well. Who's that standing behind you?
This is husband Toby.
Hey, Toby. How
Hi
are you,
there.
Toby? You're doing all the hard work, I bet.
Well, I'm doing the washing up and the cooking the rice. Yeah.
It's my birthday weekend, so I deserve to have a break.
Birthday
Oh,
tomorrow.
happy birthday.
Thank you. And
Sorry
hey,
if I missed it, if you put it in the chat, because there's that many people writing into the chat function. But
yeah, not Matt's here.
oh, hello. What's your name?
I'm Max.
Max. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
And where are you in Sheffield, by the way?
We're Sheffield.
Sheffield
We're
again.
one of my friends, Lucy. I think her son goes to school with your daughter, and she got us
Ah,
in the
I
Guinness
see.
Book
And Max,
of Records.
We
which
did the
school are you
Guinness
at,
Book
Max?
Records one.
And this is Jago. He was Master Chef last time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What was your name? Sorry.
Jago.
Jager.
Jago. J-A.
Jago. Jago.
Yep.
Which year are you in?
Year 5.
So he knows Jacob Williams, who may know your daughter. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. And Max, what year are you in?
He's disappeared, but he's in year 8. I don't even know. That's awful. Year 8.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Whatever. He's at school.
Great stuff. But look,
No, we
hope
love
you
this, and
enjoyed
we'll be-
tonight. How's it smelling there? Is it smelling good? It looks amazing, by the way. Great job. Well, look, let us know how that turns out, and by all means, send us some pictures, please. That'd be great.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm just going to put the camera back down on the counter again for a minute. You just put me onto speaker view, please, Isla. Just up there. Thank you. Because we're just now into the finishing straight now with this. So if you've got a chicken curry going on at this point, it should look something like this sort of consistency. So kind of a medium thick sauce. Now, if you want a thinner sauce, you can add some more water at this stage and then cook it out for another maybe 10 minutes max, really. The important thing to do at this point is just to check that your chicken is cooked. And the best way to do that is to pick actually one of the pieces that are on the bone, particularly the leg, because sometimes that can take quite a long time to cook. And if you've got asbestos fingers, you can just pinch a bit of the flesh and just see if it's cooked through. Or, might be wiser, is just to use a fork, and you can see that there should be no pink color near the bone. As long as there's no pink color near the bone, then that's cooked through. You can check another bit of the, maybe one of the meatier pieces, and again, just rip it apart and see if it's cooked all the way through. It should, so you can see that's completely white. There's no pink in there, so that's cooked through. So finishing touch, just pop the heat right on a low heat now. And the finishing flourish then is 1 teaspoon of garam masala. Just sprinkle that over evenly as you can. Then your dried fenugreek leaves, if you've got them, about a tablespoon. And what I do is just pop it into the palm of my hand like that, look. And then just scrunch it between the palms of my hands like that and just let it drop into the pan. Just tumble in there. You really can't go wrong with that. So I always add a little pinch extra just for good luck. And then just give that a good stir through.
A few people have put their hands. So, shall I?
1 second, darling. Let me just finish this bit off and then you can do that. And then the final thing is I've got here a small bunch of coriander leaves, okay? So I'm just going to quickly, because I didn't get a chance earlier, just chop those up finely if you can, but it doesn't matter if it's not too fine. So just give that a little chop through, and then you can just sprinkle that over the top of your chicken, and then give it a final stir through. You might want to save some of those leaves just for garnish, if you wish, but just sprinkling that over, look. I can see some people have got their hands up. Isla, Laura Garcia, I think you've got your hand up. Was that a question?
Yeah, it is. Hi, it's Jose actually, but yeah, well, just a question. We're going to eat our curry on Sunday, and was wondering, do we add the garam masala and the coriander now, or should we do that when we warm it through?
It's a great question, actually. So what I would do is I would add maybe half a teaspoon now, stir it through. Then when you come to reheat it, you can sprinkle a little bit more on top just as it's heating through, as well as your coriander leaves. They'll stay a lot fresher. Coriander leaves can lose their flavor if you leave them too long in the fridge or the freezer.
Right, great. That's perfect. Thank you very much for that.
No problem. Hope you enjoy it. Sorry, what's the little man's name?
Oh, it looks... What's your name?
My name's Ernesto.
It's what, sorry?
Ernesto.
Ernesto?
Ernesto.
Oh, Nesto. Sorry, it's my hearing. I've got this thing in one ear and I can't hear in the other one. Lovely to see you, Nesto. What year are you in, Nesto?
5.
Year 5. And whereabouts in the country are you?
Sheffield.
Oh, you're in Sheffield. Great person, local. Excellent. But lovely to have you with us today. Hopefully you're going to enjoy the curry whenever you have it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone, I'm going to give you one final view then of this chicken.
We've got a couple of more questions.
Okay, we'll come back to the questions in a minute. If you just go to my screen, please, darling, so I can just see speaker view. That's it. Just going to pop that down here again. So look, I've got everything in there, and it's absolutely vibrant in color, isn't it? That curry, it's full of goodness. It's got all that spinach in there. It's got all that coriander in there. The chicken should now nicely be cooked through. If you're doing the Saag Paneer version, your paneer will also be ready, and you can garnish that and finish it off. And really, that's the kind of thing we're looking for. So that should be your chicken saag complete, a nice medium thick sort of curry sauce. And hopefully you're really going to enjoy that either with some chapatis or some rice. So if you want to just bring I'll bring the camera up and then you look at the questions in the chat and see what people have got on there. You sure?
Comments. Can you freeze it?
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just trying to adjust the camera here. There we go. Right. Okay. What was the question?
What was that you crushed with your hand?
Okay, so what I crushed with my hands was the dried fenugreek leaves. So the last stage, everyone, was your dried fenugreek leaves, about a tablespoon, about a teaspoon of garam masala, and then your coriander leaves finely chopped in.
And then can you freeze it?
Yes. So if you want to freeze this, you let it completely cool down. Then you can pop it in the freezer in a container. That'll be good in there for easily, I'd say 3 to kind of 5, 6 weeks. But when you take it out, thoroughly defrost it and thoroughly heat it all the way through, please, especially if you're doing the chicken version before you eat it.
That's it.
Okay, so we've got some comments. Amazing experience. You loved it. Haven't eaten it yet. Thank you so much, Isla Raheel. Thank you. Sorry, just scroll up. I couldn't see who that was, Isla.
That was. Oh, I didn't know.
It goes so quickly, doesn't it? I think it was Vicky. I think I could see the name there. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Hayley. Meal looks and smells incredible. Thank you so much, everyone. Look, there's lots of people saying thank you. So apologies I can't get to you all. But I've really enjoyed cooking again. We've enjoyed it, haven't we, Isla? Yeah. We really enjoyed doing this again. Hopefully you're going to join us for on the 12th of March, which is your lamb rogan josh. There's going to be lots of other recipes as well that I'll be doing over the coming weeks and months, hopefully. So do look out for those. We do a regular cook along on a Saturday as well at 5:30. So we're doing that tomorrow. We're doing a dal makhani, which is like a creamy black lentil dish. So that's tomorrow. So if you want to join in on that, best thing for you to do is to go to @Raheel Cooking Instagram page, send me a message, and then I'll get you the right information that you need. You can sign up on the Eventbrite link. Let me just pop that into, hang on, we'll come back to that in a second. Let me just go to, if I just pop into the chat function again, that was the Eventbrite link for the lamb rogan josh for next week. If you want to sign up, you can do. And that's it really. So look, if you want to go away and eat your dinner, then, or tea, whatever you call it, then I don't blame you. But thank you so much for joining this evening. Hope we've had a lot of fun. We certainly have. We'd love to see you again on future cook-alongs. I think this is a real nice feel-good factor for lots of people. We learn a lot from you, hopefully as much as you do from us. So even if you've taken a little thing away from today, then that's been really rewarding for us. And most importantly, we hope your dish is going to taste amazing. So pictures, comments, all of that would be great. But thank you so much, everyone. We're going to say bye for now, and hopefully we'll see you next time. You can come off mute and you can say bye-bye. See you later.
Sorry, no, we come off mute.
We can't take you off mute. Allow them to unmute themselves. There you go. Unmute away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Mum. Bye, Rick.
See you later, everyone.
I'm leaving.
See you later. Bye.
I'm not, I'll be honest.
See you later, everyone. Bye. We've got people who've got friends and family on here. It's nice to see.
Thank you. Bye,
Enjoy, everyone.
I used to read, but I can't see her now.
Hi.